So in a move that should surprise no one, Maricopa County and Dominion have refused to comply with subpoenas issued by the Senate GOP in Arizona. They are asking for more data to complete the election audit, and of course, the county itself and the company behind the voting machines, Dominion, have decided not to comply with the subpoena. This is just more of the saga going on in Maricopa County. Let's talk about it. I'm Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. I'm a lawyer. I'm also a legal and political commentator on YouTube and on Odyssey. Wherever you're watching, hit like, subscribe, share, turn on your notifications, all of that good stuff. Here we go. This is from CBS News. The link will be down in the description if you want it. Maricopa County and Dominion refuse to comply with Arizona election audit subpoenas. So again, there's been this ongoing audit. I don't know if you've missed it by living under a rock or whatever, but it's very controversial in regards to the 2020 election. It's been very polarizing. Democrats don't like the audit. Republicans seem to like the audit. Other Republican states have been inspired by it and have been moving to push audits in their own states, even both in swing states, even in states like Texas, which were decidedly Republican in 2020. They're looking at this to say, hey, maybe we should review what actually happens in our voting systems. But that being said, I have to go ahead and say there's currently no legal mechanism to undo the presidential results in 2020. And the people who are running this audit say that that is not the goal. Rather, the goal of the audit is to provide sufficient data to the legislature who makes laws about elections. And they want to make sure that going into 2022 and then 2024, that the elections are pass the integrity test for citizens, that their voting population can have confidence in the election system, because right now polling and other indication shows that there's a significant number of people who do not have any faith in the election system as it currently stands. So legislatures are trying to rectify that in various ways. Heck, even in this comment section, by the time you watch that, you'll probably find plenty of people who have lost their faith entirely in the election system. The damage done by various actors in the 2020 election, and you know who they were. Heck, Time Magazine did a story about it and talked about exactly who they were and what they did. Those actions by those actors, they have really, really damaged the integrity and credibility of the U.S. voting system. And now we've got people trying to figure out why that was done and what they need to do to fix it. So one of the ways that Arizona is trying is with this audit. Now, they don't have enough information. They're claiming to go ahead and finalize the report on the audit. They say we need more information that's out there to do this the right way. Of course, one of the criticisms of this audit is that it's not being done the right way. It won't be complete, blah, 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 blah. But the problem is, if you're not willing to give up the information that's required to complete the audit, it's kind of convenient to then say that the audit won't be complete. I mean, that's just my opinion. It seems like an easy sort of victory if you deprive the person you're criticizing of the ability to get the full picture. It seems an easy criticism to say, well, they don't have the full picture, so it's not legitimate. But they've been pushing against this audit since it started. It seems like they were never interested in the results at all. The Maricopa County Board of Supervisors and Dominion Voting Systems refused Monday to provide additional material requested in subpoenas from Republicans in the Arizona Senate. Arizona Senate President Karen Fann and Senate Republican Senator Warren Peterson issued the subpoenas on July 26, seeking materials to help private contractors finish a controversial audit of Maricopa County's November election ballots. The subpoena demanded that Maricopa County and Dominion provide routers that were used in the elections, security information for accessing tabulating machines, network data logs, mail ballot envelopes, certain voter registration records, and any records related to alleged data breaches around the time of the election. This has been one of the long-running themes around this election and potential compromises that would have happened during voting, is that the machines were hooked up to and maybe got various updates over the air through wireless networking or something like that. Again, these are allegations. There's been testimony in front of various Congresses by people about this, showing how this might have occurred and stuff like that. You guys are probably familiar with that. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but these aren't just coming up now. I mean, these have been long-standing allegations about the Dominion voting systems and how they were potentially compromised in the election. Again, I'm not saying that they were, not saying anything about it. These are the allegations, okay? It's impossible to talk about this topic without talking about the underlying allegations that have been going on. One of them is that, again, through wireless networking and connection to the internet, these machines could have been compromised. Now, Dominion has said over and over, and the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors, who reviewed their own work and determined it to be fine, they have said over and over that the machines did not or were not accessed, to do any of this stuff, that none of that happened. Well, they've subpoenaed the machines and they've subpoenaed the logs to make sure that that's true. And they don't want to comply with that. Read into that how you will. Maricopa County again refused to turn over its routers, citing possible security risks. Thomas Liddy, a county attorney, said that producing the equipment could expose, quote, confidential data belonging to Maricopa County citizens or make law enforcement's communications infrastructure extremely vulnerable to hackers. Now, I'm not entirely sure how law enforcement's communications infrastructure would become extremely vulnerable to hackers because of Maricopa County routers used for the election facilities. I just don't know. Maybe it makes sense to someone, but I don't have enough information about that to understand why that would suddenly compromise law enforcement's communication infrastructure. If someone wants to explain that in the comments, I'm willing to listen. I just don't know. Lydia also said that previous audits demonstrated the tabulation equipment was never connected to the internet, that the county already provided information to prove that. Well, then they should have no problem providing that information again, I would think. Quote, anyone with sufficient knowledge and understanding of elections is able to confirm through a review of these logs or an inspection of the tabulators that the equipment was not connected to the internet and had no Wi-Fi devices installed, Liddy wrote. But see, and this is an interesting way because what they're asking for is the logs and they're asking for the security keys to access and inspect the tabulators. So sure, anyone with sufficient knowledge and understanding could confirm it by reviewing it, but they're asking for the information to review. Again, this is all milady doth protest too much. This seems like it should be a simple solution, right? It seems like if they just complied with the subpoenas, turned over the information, which I got to give you a little bit of legal background on this. The County Board of Supervisors has rejected subpoena requests from the Senate GOP for months and months and months. Actually, that's what took the audit so long to get started, was that they would reject the subpoena requests. They refused to comply with subpoenas. They went to court. They were told that they can't refuse to comply with subpoenas. They again refused to comply with subpoenas. They settled out and said that they would comply with the subpoenas, and then again refused to comply with the subpoenas, and then they had to go back to court to do it again. This is not new. None of this is new. The county board has been fighting against the release of this information, even though judges have said over and over, you have to. You are created as a subsidiary of the state legislature, and therefore you must comply with these subpoenas. They have routinely said, no, they won't do it, and have lost that battle eventually every single step. It's a delay tactic. They want to delay this audit. They don't want the results to come out for whatever reason, which they should be perfectly fine with the results coming out. One, the overwhelming likelihood, according to them, is that the audit will produce a result that shows that, any discrepancy is within a margin of error and that the entire thing was a waste of time. They should want that result to come out. That's what they have asserted over and over again. And yet, time and time again, they've been standing in the way of that happening. And it seems like if they just went ahead, provided this audit team with the materials that they needed, they would go ahead and get the results, get them out, and then everybody could move on with their lives, and that would be that. But I think it's I think it's better in their mind to not have that happen. Maybe it's a political reason. Maybe there is some thing they're worried about coming out. I don't know. I don't know any of that. But for whatever reason, they think it plays better in the media, where this is getting a lot of play, to not comply with this stuff and to further delay the process and kick it down the road, perhaps to give people more time to try and discredit the audit team. But look, if at this point, you're probably going to either believe that the audit team is credible or you're going to believe the audit team is not credible. And I don't see how further media influence and further time to try and build those narratives is going to work for either party. Let's get this thing done. But hey, that's just me. I'm just a lawyer in Minnesota who has no connection to any of this, talking about it from the outside. What do you guys think? Drop it down in the comments below. And hey, if you like these videos, share them. Share them on social media. Really helps people like me out. Thanks again. Catch you soon. Peace. Peace.